What is up, you guys? The Fallout What If here, and today I'm going to do a what if. It's a high school DxD what if. This is going to be what if Issei had rage gear. Now, before we start, I'll shout out to Last of Us 21, Diamandis Rouge, Loki Uchiha. What else? Ghost What Ifs. Who else? Let's see. What ifers that I don't usually say. Ryan Schultz. Everybody that I used to talk, who used to shout out. To be honest, I'm not gonna lie. I keep forgetting people's names, but only reason why I know Lasto and Patrick and all that stuff is because I'm friends with them, and I usually talk to them on a day-to-day basis. But yeah, that's pretty much it. If people want to talk to me or something like that and need some help or something, or like some guidance, or just need somebody to listen to them, I have a Discord, and not only that, I have I have an Instagram called, it's just Fallout Whatever. Oh, let's see. Oh yeah, not only that, like, comment, you subscribe to the channel here, people. Like I said before, and I'll say it again, I'm trying to do this, I'm trying to do this in the, well, I'm trying to do this whole video, this whole, like, shtick of mine in the beginning, not in the end, because, you know, I like just saying bye. But, anyway, let's just get into this what if, alright? Shall we not humans. I'm a human too. Am I a human? Yeah. Anyway, so what's gonna happen here? How does this all start, you may ask? Well, we start off with the rage gear. Now, this gear was a gift to, well, Issei. How did it become, you know, rage gear instead of, like, you know, sacred gear? Sacred gear was a gift by God in order to create something powerful. It was meant to be be given to humans, but a man who was in heaven. One day, a man fell in love with this woman. She was in, well, the realm of Earth, where his feelings for her came to be. But during the war, because a fight was leading out to Earth, he was scared that the battle would land on one of the places she was at, and fate has a strange way of, you know, giving people the middle finger. It killed her. And the man who loved her once, a man who was an angel, who, if anything, was so close as to devote his whole life to God himself, he fallen into despair, and into hatred, into turmoil. And then something within him just snapped. All that feeling of what he felt, all because of the other races. The human race was something meant to be protected, but this guy suffered so much of it, to the point to where he became enveloped in light and darkness. The only thing he felt was pure rage, to the point to where it instantly turned him into a devil. As far as people know, know, an angel can turn into a fallen, but a fallen can't turn into a devil. As far as I believe, besides reincarnation, that is the only time you ever heard of a fallen devil hybrid. But this man himself broke so many rules in this thing He first broke the fact that he was now an angel turned fallen. So he can't be in freaking heaven anymore. But he even went a step further and went from being a fallen angel to a freaking devil. And not only that, what happens next is something that nobody would have predicted. He fell into so much hate and rage that his wings broke off. Once a beautiful white light of feathers, so pure and white that that the angels themselves would have compared him to the same kind of light as Michael's, as a gift from God. Then turned so black that Ophis, the sheesh, I forgot her name. Ophis, all right. The give me a second here. All right. Sorry. Even Ophis, the Ouroboros dragon, they would have compared her. She would have said that those were even darker than her eyes. That they looked like the pits of nothingness themselves. Then turned into the shape of a bat wings. Well, turned into the shape of bat wings, to the point to where it was just a devil itself. And nothing special about that, to be honest. I'm not saying that their wings weren't cool to some way, but it kind of looked like they should have shown something better than just that, like something even more extravagant. But hey, it's High School DxD. I'm not expecting much from somebody who's known as the Opie Dragon. But anyway, his wings just broke off, and instead of being able to fly, he just learned how to walk on his 2 feet, just running towards them, just breaking off their wings, bashing them. The angels that were once his comrades were also responsible for their deaths. But had they probably helped him out and stopped them, things would have turned out okay. But they say that casualties are inevitable, that her life was just only one. It had no meaning without the Lord himself. And this is what took this man into gave this man even more anger towards the angels. He could have lived a little better. He could have felt something had they just said that she was special. Like all of her children shouldn't have to go through this. They should have stopped or something. Apologized to him, because they knew how he felt about her. They knew that those two had something for each other. The man felt this only to one other person, and that was God himself. But the angels that supported him, the people, well, the devils and the fallen, they didn't do nothing besides just said that it was just another filthy human. And that's when he looked at them as enemies. He looked at all races as enemies. Besides the human race, besides the dragon, the only 3 races he had hatred for now was the angels, the fallen angels, and the devils. And with the palm of his hands, he shot out beams of fire, just radiating fire itself, to where his veins were once nothing. Not seeing any of his veins, because, you're an angel, you don't have veins. He somewhat took more power as nothing. It was almost as if that all the rage that everybody had, all the rage that they had was combined all together, would still be insufficient enough insignificant against the rage of this angel. I haven't given him a name, but I would like to give him one in the future. So if any of you guys have like a good name, I'm kind of going for this whole look right here. He had white hair, but that was the only thing that changed. That was the only thing that stayed the same. Besides this man, like his skin turned dark, his veins that weren't supposed to even be there took the place of like a red, orangish kind of color. Not only that, he bared markings. He's basically gonna look like this guy right here. And you already all, if you guys played on the PlayStation, at least the PS3, you guys will know who this guy is. He's a pretty cool dude. His name is Asura, and he's from a game called Ashura's Wrath. So I'm kind of basing it off this, but I couldn't find anybody that kind of looked like this with markings kind of similar to what I wanted, and kind of like just representing anger. Sorry. He started slaughtering, brutally beating down everything that was just those three different species. And that's when he started to grab somebody, and basically he took them into he was taken into heaven. Well, not heaven. He was taken to the battlefield, just enraged, and with the willpower of whatever he was now, gave him the ability of flight, and just started to fly as hard as he can, just grabbing people, just bashing them away, cutting them limb from limb with his hands, until one angel, an angel of divine retribution, looked at him and says, You were once an angel. How did you become like this? The man said, Nothing. But he said that you filthy creatures destroyed, murdered, slaughtered the one woman I loved. You're gonna pay for that. Everyone's gonna pay for that. For all this misery that you've given me. And basically just started running towards this angel and started beating him, grabbing him, and throwing him downwards. This is when the soldier of heaven just started to fight him one-on-one. And these two were on par at first. And it looked like the angel was gonna win. The man casting down a brilliant golden flame like fire at this man. And the man, the former angel, basically just brushed it off, pushed it away, and looked at him enraged, and just shot out black flames towards this man. The man right there, who had beautiful skin and a face of an the face of an angel, basically was scarred, torn, melted away a bit. This man shot out black lava or some kind of substance out of his mouth. And he started to just basically grab his skin and rip it apart from his flesh. After that, he saw devils and fallen angels and angels on the other side, and just started running towards them again, jumping on the opportunity to destroy anything that represented their kind. Until two mighty dragons came around. And this is when this is when the angel, the former angel, looked at them. And they looked at him, both wondering, who is this creature? This is when they said that this man here was once an angel, but for some reason he shifted into this new creature. The person didn't do anything Oh, my bad. The dragons didn't do nothing at first, but they looked at him and they said that this man right here is somewhat a worthy opponent. Now, he's not gonna turn into a dragon or anything like that, because I decided that the whole dragon stick, you know, in a place where Issei has the boosted gear, that would be some kind of something that would be somewhat fun. But I decided to go for something much more primitive. So this is when he started to go toe to toe with the freaking, well, former angel. Like I said, I don't have a name for him, but he started fighting them, and the dragons, they're tough, but they even have to admit, while fighting him, it was just like fighting something other than a freaking angel, other than a devil or a fallen. It wasn't using magic. It was just spurting out just random powers at them, using its instincts, just jumping away and running towards them. Kind of like a mindless beast, but even a mindless beast has the sense to know when it's starting to hurt. But this person right here didn't even flinch when he lost the arm. Didn't flinch when he lost the leg. Even his chest had a hole in it. But this man didn't go away. As he started to somewhat recover from this. Somehow, somewhat regenerating his limbs. The man right here looked at them and said, I am a man now who's lost something very important to him. And everybody, just like that angel said, she was just merely a human that meant something to me. But not to feel worked up about it. To just worry about the conflict ahead. No, they didn't try to help me. Nobody tried to help me. So that's when I snapped and just started to turn into this thing. To be honest, I'm disgusted with myself. Not because I look like this, but because of the fact that I couldn't save her in time. You are dragons. You must know that if something meant something to you, like your treasure, but it had a life of its own, and you started to have feelings for it, and those feelings turn into strong emotions, it turns into reasons why you live. But then, imagine having that feeling snuffed out, and somebody telling you not to worry about it, and just to move on as quickly as if it meant nothing. That's what enrages me. I don't know anything about Dragon's Rage. But I know that the love that I once had is gone. She'll never be here again. And I will have my revenge. I will have beat down anything until my anger is sanctioned or sancted. Until these feelings are no more. And this is when he just starts charging towards the dragons again. But after a while, the man couldn't recover anymore. After going toe-to-toe with two dragons that divided his power, and somewhat impressed at how it still manages to get up and give even more power, even though this man here was giving out more power, they divided it. But sometimes when they saw him, they know that this was just barely touching the tip of his true potential. The dragons, however, even though they are feeling all this pain, knowing how strong he is, they weren't even scared. They thought that this man here wasn't going to hurt them. But the dragons found out that this man here was far, far from being dead. The angels and the fallen angels, even the devils, the three main organisms, basically looked towards them and decided to all combine together as one union of force, and decided to charge towards the dragons and this creature now, and basically destroy them. But while this man was getting hurt, Albion, one of the heavenly dragon, basically accidentally hit him with the flick of his tail, causing him to skyrocket towards a big tree. The man basically was hit the tree, then the ground, and this is when he decided to grab the tree and started to pick it up with all of his might. The man started to squeeze this tree so tightly, somewhat bending reality for that split, for those couple of seconds, making the tree that was at least as thick as a building and as tall as a skyscraper, somewhat turned this thing into a small yet large club that he just lugged around. Not only that, but when he started charging and he hit one of the angels, one of the angels that was there quickly vanished, only leaving its hands and its legs. One of the soldiers started to yell out that this angel was basically torn somehow from its limbs, as the guy that they saw wielding the club, they say that this guy here was a freak of nature, and the dragons themselves decided that this man was, how should I say it, interrupting their fights far too long for them to enjoy. And basically, with the combined forces of all angels and dragons, they managed to actually beat him down and wear him out to the point to where he dies. But the man still lives on. Somehow, some way, he lives on, enraged as he lies down on the ground. After pretty much half of their forces were wiped out and the dragons were at their uppermost limits, after that, this man right here just looked in the sky. In the place of where usually there's nothing there, besides the skies and all, he looked up and thought to himself, I really wish that I got to see her one last time and tell her how I felt. I feel regretful that I lost her. This is when a man walked towards him. He was looking at him. He was an old person, but he said, "Who are you?" The man, covered in brown, it looked like he was wearing armor, but it also looked like he looked at him with some kind of sadness, an empathetic look. If anything, he looked at him with pity. The man looked at him and says, "What are you doing here?" To which this man, who is known as Satan, looks at him and says, "I saw what happened to you. I have to admit I am impressed. I would have..." Give me a second here. Sorry about that. I thought my family was in trouble, so I just rushed. But he talks to him and tells him basically, up to the point I remember, he says, "I'm sorry what had happened. I understand that you loved her, but that doesn't mean I'm just gonna let you die. You killed a lot of my people. But, as it turns out, my father, he's going to be making these gears before I die." And he says, "Before you die, what is your name?" And he says, "Oh, I'm sorry. You probably forgot about me before you were born, at least. My name is Lucifer, Morning Star." Now, this isn't the one over. This isn't the Lucifer Morning Star that we all know and love in freaking Lucifer. But this is somewhat a variation of a man, at least a part of him. If anything, I'm going to possibly do what if Issei was basically the son of Lucifer, or at least what if he was adopted by Lucifer, kind of giving him that that kind of title right there. That would be a good one, but that'll be for a later time. I'm using Lucifer Morningstar at least as it's an easier name to remember. Now, as Issei is not Issei, as the man tells him, "What are you going to do?" This is when Lucifer says, "Well, my father is going to be creating these things called sacred gears. And to be honest, I was kind of impressed, so I made a couple of gears of my own. It's going to be known as Devi gears." That's kind of lame. The man says, "Oh, hush now. I don't have right now the idea of it." And this is when the man says, "What kind of devil gears are you thinking of?" And this is when Lucifer says, "Well, if you must know, these gears are gonna give me this power, or at least give the people who are gonna follow me one day power." Give me a second here. Sorry about that. Everybody just needs a piece of me today, and not the way I wish it was. Now, as far as I know, you should have a good memory on this. What happens is, he tells him that I have something called Devi gear for the humans. In order for them to gain power, like my father, but I want to see which ones are better. My Devi gear or their sacred gear. I will have a name one day in place for these called Devi gear. Let's see, prehistoric gear. Not divine gear, not like my father's, but something with more flair to it. Sacred gear would have been something I would have used, but dear dad decided to one-up me on this. As the man is thinking, the once angel looks at him and tells him, "Why don't you give me, if you're gonna make people into gears, you might as well forget about it. I'm not gonna be called something like Devi Gear. This is when Lucifer looks at him and says, "You're right. You're gonna be named something even better. The Devi Gear. I'm gonna give you something with more anger to it. Anger gear, no, destructive gear. Ah, that sounds something I would use. Would you like to be called destructive gear? That would actually be something nice. Too bad. I'm gonna actually use it. Destructive gear. Sounds clean. But it can't be destructive gear for you, nor me, because I might need some things that are support. What's it called? Alright, what about sin gear? That sounds like something, but this is when the man says, sin gear? I haven't sinned besides killed a bunch of them. And he's like, not for you, for me. That sounds like something I would use. What about me? And this is when the guy says, I didn't think you wanted to be a gear at all. I don't want you to make me, but I know you're going to. This is when Lucifer looks at him and says, you're very perceptive. And this is when he says, gee, thanks. I just want to live knowing that she could have been saved. Oh, if she was saved. I'm sorry. Lucifer says, no, I understand. You're about to die, so you're not thinking. Well, during that whole fight with the three main factions, you weren't thinking either. Then fighting the dragons was another story at all, by all means. Then having them fight against you. You weren't lacking in power. You weren't even lacking at all in strength or speed. To be honest, it was your way of fighting that actually made you who you were. But I think I know the name for you. It may not be classy, but it certainly gets the point across. How about I call it Rage Gear? For you. This is when the guy says, go on. And he says, this gear right here will be created. Slight inconveniences and all that, but you will be known as Rage Gear. Well, this is when the guy says, if that's what it takes, then do it. Free me of this hell. So that way I can live for some human that decides to get angry. Who knows? I may kill a devil, or an angel, or a fallen. And what if this person who didn't know about your life, what would you do? What do you mean? Well, what would you do if they liked humans, or devils, or angels, or the fallen? What would you do then? This is when the man says, I will let them do what they want. This is when Lucifer says, what do you mean? I thought you hated all of them. This is when he says, I do. I hate them so much for what they've done. I know this is just one tiny thing to them. And I even know that what I did sorry about that. I know what I did was far beyond what they thought I would have done. But to me, if I was losing the one thing that gave me a lot of happiness. And Lucifer says, I thought God gave you happiness. I thought Father gave all of his angels happiness. It was only when I rebelled. This is when the man says, I love God. I truly do. I still love our Father. But I guess because I love him, he's always going to be in my memories. So I can live with the fact that if he dies, it won't hurt as much because I know he will never die. Lucifer says, you're not thinking a lot now, are you? I know he's going to... And this is when the man says, there's no way that he's gonna die. Just like there's no way you're gonna die. This is when the man says, as much as I want to say... Shit, sorry. Alright. He says, as much as I would like to agree with you, there's still a lot about us that we don't even know yet. Heck, I bet Dad's feeling the same way too. But enough about that. Go on, continue. This is when the man says, because of how I felt for the woman, it was new, but it was also something that I knew had little time to... I knew she had little time to live. So I guess that bond was even stronger. It may be a sin, but it's a sin that I can accept. Now, finish me off. And give me to some human that decides to just kill me off, kill someone. That's the least I deserve for murdering every single... Well, murdering at least half of the factions. Main power, main support, fighter, everyone. I deserve that much at least. This is when Lucifer says, gladly. Hopefully you find what you're looking for. And this is where I'm going to leave it off. Now, I understand that you guys would have wanted to hear more, but this is going to be at least the prologue, or at least the beginning. This is going to be part 0 because, well, it at least gives you everything you need to know about Rage Gear. We're not even scratching the surface with the story right now. At least the second episode will have the story for Issei, actually giving it more depth. So you at least know that it's not just hatred, or it's not just all about Issei right there just thinking, oh, I'm gonna just destroy. No. It is about hurting people, but it isn't just about destroying things like the Hulk. The Hulk right here was about anger and destroying things. This guy here was just truly destructive when he did things, causing an end to them. He just wanted to hurt people, hurt the people that hurt him, hurt the people that caused all this. Not just, oh, I got hit, now I'm angry. No. This is something far, far deeper. And once Issei becomes emotional, or once Issei's, main feelings come into play, this story will make a far more better story to tell. But I have to say goodnight to you guys. This has been the Fallout with a Fear. Bye.